Good morning. Hey everybody, welcome to our math and science lesson. This week it is June 29th. Only one more day in June. How exciting. Have you looked at a calendar lately? Do you know what month it is? Do you know how many months in a year? Do you? Okay, we're in the 6th month and the 29th day. We only have one more day this month, and then we turn to a new month. Do you know what it is? I hope so. Practice that. See if you know. It's July. Yes, July's coming up. So I'm glad you're with me. Let's get started. One more birthday shout out for our friend Sony Ashley for the month of June. That's right. So next week you'll see a new slide, brand new. Finally, we'll see July and see if there's any of our friends who are having July birthdays. Now, your promise. Thank you for keeping your promise. So important. So participate, be respectful, be on time, keep your microphones muted, include your name in the chat or in the Zoom, stay in your spot until I tell you it's time to get up, and then keep your eyes on the screen where all the magic happens. So here we go. What are we doing today, you ask? Well, let's tell you. We're going to do two things today. We're going to do a little bit of math and a little bit of science. We're going to go pretty quickly. But what are we doing in math? Well, we're going to start comparing numbers. We're going to use different tools, models, number lines, even a tens frame to help us compare numbers to see who's got more, who has less. Yeah, we'll talk a lot about that. And then we'll have a very short science lesson. And this one's kind of fun. We're going to talk about what objects might be real, and what might be imaginary, not real. Okay, so that's what we're going to do today. Plus, we'll have some brain breaks too. So let's move on. We are actually going to jump right into our Nearpod today. So I'll see you there in just a moment. Are you ready to Nearpod? Me too. All right. Remember, I share the Nearpod with a separate new code for you to practice on your own. Okay. So I would really like it if you watch this video and then practice the Nearpod all by yourself, all on your own. All right. Okay. So let's get started. Our STEM lesson for the day starts with math. We are going to compare numbers up to the number 10. That's right. Our question is, well, how do I compare two numbers? I know what the numbers are. I know I can count all the way up to 10. Can you? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, the question of the day is, can I compare those numbers? So, do I know the difference between the number 2 and the number 7? Do I know the difference in value? Oh, yeah. That means that I need to know the amount, what it's worth. Oh, so is 2 worth more than 7? Is 10 worth more than 1? We're going to be looking at the values of groups of numbers and if we can tell which one's greater, which one's less, or are they equal? Okay, so let's move on. Now, how much do you already know about comparing numbers to 10? A, I know a lot. I can do this in my sleep. I can compare numbers. B, I know a little bit. I might know the difference between a few of the numbers. Need a little practice. C, what's comparing? What are numbers? I don't know. Help me. Okay, choose one of those. And it's okay to be honest. If you don't know, it's okay. That's why we're here, to teach you. So let's move on. Okay, here's our collaboration screen. I'm going to ask you one little question. If you can't read it, click on that little play button at the top in the instructions, and it will say, how do you know when someone has more than you? Share a time. Explain a time. when someone had more than you? What does more than mean? Oh, I have a scenario. I remember. Okay. When I was a little kid, we got stickers for doing good things in school. And I remember that my friend and I were comparing to see who got more stickers that day. She did, but it was okay because I knew that she deserved those stickers and I was proud of her. But we counted those stickers and she had more than me. So in my response, I might say something like, let's see, my friend had more stickers than me. So I might write something like that. And you can share a time when someone else had something more than you. If you can count it, then you can tell who has more and who has less. You can also tell if two numbers are equal. Okay, two amounts are equal. Let's go on. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on that. I'd like to see if you've ever had a time when someone had more than you. All right, what are comparing numbers? Well, we're going to watch a quick little video that will help us learn how to compare numbers. As we watch, I want you to think about how we can compare numbers to find which number is greater and which number might be less. Oh, that's a good thing to practice. Greater means bigger, greater, more. And less means smaller. We say less like that. Less. And we can also determine if two numbers are exactly the same. They must be equal. Okay, let's go on and watch the video. Okay, pay attention. We're going to watch most of the video. So let's learn about how to compare numbers.
Look what I found, I think I might like it here. I like the beach and I like the palm trees. So many things aren't like in Antarctica. I'll take lots of pictures home to share. Up in this tree I can count 3 coconuts, and in the other I see there are 7. When I compare, I know 3 will always be fewer than the 7 over there. I can plainly see when I compare.
Awesome. What do you notice? I observed that one tree had only 3 coconuts. And the other tree had how many? That's right, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I always recount to be sure. Okay, now if we were comparing to see which tree had more, would you be able to tell? Yeah, it's pretty obvious. This one has a long line of a long stack of coconuts, and the other only has a short stack. 1, 2, 3. 7 has more. 7 is greater. 7 is greater than 3. 3 is less than 7, isn't it? Are they equal? Are they exactly the same? Do they match up? Nope, they don't match. They're not equal. One is definitely greater and the other one is less. All right, let's go on.
And on the ground, crabs are crawling everywhere. 6 by the tree and 2 by the water. One group has more, 6 is many more than 2. That's what we can see when we compare.
Now let's compare the crabs. 2 were by the water, 6 were under the tree. Which location had more, the tree or the water? Yes, yeah. Pretty easy to tell, don't you think? There are 6 crabs under the tree and only 2 by the water. That even looks like a big difference, doesn't it? Are they equal? Is this group of crabs equal to this group of crabs? Equal means the same. Equal means the same. They're not the same. They can't be equal. Can't match them up. So that means that we have one group that is greater and one group that is less. Awesome. Okay, let's finish up.
Beneath the waves, fish are swimming all around. A school of round ones, a school of skinny ones. This group has 5, so does that group over there. So we say they're equal, they're the same.
Look at that. We have an equal set, equal match, equal groups. That's correct. So that means that we can say that the narrow, skinny blue fish, that group of 5 skinny blue fish is the same number as the yellow big fish. We had 5 blue fish and 5 yellow fish. Wait a minute. Does that sound like they're equal? Are they the same? Can you match them up? Yes, I can match this blue to this yellow, 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 and have none left over. They all match up. That means they're the same. They're equal. Equal means the same. Same is equal. Equal means the same. So are there any numbers that are greater? Is one group greater than the other? One group less? No, that's right. They're the same. There isn't one group that's greater or one that is less because they match. They're equal. They're the same. Awesome. All right, let's move on, guys. We are going to talk about matching up. Do you remember when I said that in order to tell if something is equal, we can match them? We can match them up to see if there are any leftover or any extras. If there is some that are more extra, then I can tell that it's going to be a greater amount. So you have the opportunity to draw on this. So erase any drawings you have because here come the directions. It asks you to match up the apples to the bananas and then circle the group. Circle either the apples or the bananas, the whole group that has fewer. Fewer means less. Okay, so let's match them up first. Watch what Mrs. Cruz does. She matches to see if they are the same. Well, this one matches that. So banana to the apple, apple to banana, apple to banana, banana to apple, apple to, uh-oh, I ran out of something. Uh-oh, what can I match these two? There's no bananas. I ran out of bananas. Does it look like I have extra? I agree. So if I have extra in one of the groups, that means I have more. The number's going to be greater than the other group. So which group has less? The apples or bananas? Less means they must be missing some. It's a smaller number. Do you know what I like to do? I like to count them. Let's count them to be absolutely sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 apples. And how many bananas? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bananas. But we had 2 extra apples. So which group is? Yeah. They want you to circle the fewer, the less amount. So which one are you going to circle? I agree. I'm going to put a big, let me do a different color. How about green? I like green. I'm going to circle the bananas because they are the lesser value. We are missing some bananas. That means that the number is going to be less than the number of apples. Okay, so I like to match them. Then I can tell how many has an extra amount. And then I can circle the greater or lesser group. Okay, pretty easy. Now you know how to compare objects and numbers. I looked at the objects and I didn't know the number until I counted them. So is it important to count them? I hope you said yes. Yeah, it's always going to be important for you to count. And I like to recount to be sure too. You saw that before. Now let's go on. And oh, I like this one too. Let me just read through this so you know what it says. It says, when we compare numbers, we decide if one number is more than or less than or even equal. So we have three choices. It can be more or greater. It can be less, fewer, or it can be the same, equal, like 5 is equal to 5. They're totally the same. A number is greater than or more than another number if it is the larger amount, like we saw for the apples. The apples had more, didn't it? Two numbers are equal if they represent the same exact amount. Equal means the same. We can count. Oh yeah, I remember Mrs. Cruz says always count to compare the numbers. That way you'll know the numbers, not just, oh, I see so many cones. Know how many of those ice cream cones you see. So how would we compare the number of ice cream cones and the candy corn at the bottom? Do you remember what we did on the slide before? Yeah. Okay, so the first step is to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ice cream cones. Now let's count our candy corn. Go ahead. 4, 5, 6, 7. There seems to be an extra candy corn. If I were to match these up, cone to candy, 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 cone to candy. Uh-oh, I ran out of cones. There's an extra candy at the bottom. That must mean that there are more candy corn than there are cones. 7 is greater than 6, isn't it? All right, they're not equal. They're not the same. So what is the first step? Stop! Okay, come to a stop. When you are asked to compare two numbers, if you see objects, you need to stop and count them first. That's the first thing you do. Most important thing is to count. And write down the number that you counted. Do you remember the apples and the bananas? I had to count, and then write down how many there were. I want to see the number that I'm counting. Okay, so the first step is to count your objects first to find out the number. That's your first step. Let's do that here. And you can practice this on your own as well. It says, circle the group of shapes that shows a lesser amount, or circle the word equal at the bottom if they are the same. Well, wait a minute, stop. How are you gonna know if they're equal if you don't count? Yeah, I don't know either. What's the first step? Count. Okay, let's count and then write the number somewhere in that group. So let's do the first one. You can write on this slide. I like to put a dot or something so I remember that I counted it. I can even put the numbers on there, but I'm just going to put a little dot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, this group has 6. Let's do the other group. I'm going to compare with the other group, but I need to know how many there are first. So this one's done. Let's count the other group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Now we need to decide which group is greater. You can match them up if you want to, or you can just tell from the numbers which one is greater, which group is lesser, or are they, circle the word equal, if they are exactly the same. What do you think? Look at that. There is a square left over. That means he doesn't have anyone else to match to. Look, I ran out of trapezoids. I don't have any left. So immediately I can tell one of these groups has a greater value. It has more. It has an extra. Here's the extra. Now let's look at the directions, because you have to read the directions to be sure that you follow the instructions. And the instructions say to circle the group of shapes that shows a lesser amount. So which shapes would you circle? Which whole group would you circle that was less? Would you circle all of the squares or the trapezoids? I think you're right. They're not equal. Wah, wah, wah. The group that is less is the purple trapezoids. So I would put a big circle around that group because it's less than the squares. It was missing one, so I knew it was less. I couldn't even match them all up. 5 is less than 6. Flip it around. 6 is greater than 5. You could say it both ways. I'd like you to start using that vocabulary. Yeah, I like when people use the math vocabulary like greater and less instead of more and bigger, right? That's not real math vocabulary. So try using the terms that we are learning from our lesson and explain to me in one quick sentence. 6 is greater than 5. Or flip it around. 5 is less than 6. All right, guys. The next one you practice on your own. It says, let me read the directions so you're sure. Circle the group of shapes that shows a greater amount. Or circle the word equal if they are exactly the same. What's the first step again? Yeah, count. Count. You may count up each side to know what the number is, and then you can decide if one is greater than the other group, okay? You can also tell if they're equal if you have the same exact number on both sides, but you won't know until you count. So make sure you count. Okay, practice that on your own. I wanted to go over this as well because this is coming up in your time to climb. It is another tool that we can use to help us compare numbers. This is called a number line. It's a long line with numbers on it that go in order. And we can use this tool to help tell which number is greater. Okay, they write the word more. I like greater. Circle the greater number. Okay, if you're just looking down at 7 and 9, you probably can tell which number is greater. If I had $7 and my sister had $9, who has a greater amount? You already know, probably, but there is this tool right here where you can actually mark on your number line. Remember that the numbers go in order from small, less, all the way up to the greatest amount. So 0 being your smallest to 10 being your greatest. Okay. So what I want to know is the numbers down here are kind of small, right? They're smaller, and the numbers up here are bigger. So the higher I go on my number line, the greater the number. Correct? Yeah, I agree. So if you move toward the right where the numbers are getting bigger, I know that they're greater values up this way, okay, toward the right. So now, well, what do you mean, Mrs. Cruz? Well, find the numbers on the number line. Let's make 7 red, put a dot on 7, and let's make 9 green. I like that green. Okay. Remember what I said? The numbers that are closer to the right side, the higher numbers are going to be greater. So can you tell from this number line which number is greater? Yeah, 9 is greater because it's higher up on the number line. So it says to circle the greater number. You got it, Mrs. Cruz. There it is. 9 is greater because it's farther up the number lines. Greater number, higher value. Further on up the number line, that's the bigger number, the greater number. Circle 9. All right, you can practice that on your own as well. Using that number line is a great tool to help you decide if numbers are same, equal, one is greater, one is less. Okay, you're going to be using that number line a lot. So get used to making them, practicing them, making sure you can count on them in order. Yeah, don't miss any numbers. And then you'll learn how to compare. Okay, so practice this one on your own. Let me read the directions so you can do this one on your own. It says, draw shapes to show which is less, then circle the number that shows less. Now, what do they mean by drawing shapes? Oh, they want you to do a model. Yeah, I just do dots. So remember, this is on one side and this is on the other side. So we're comparing those two numbers, right? So you can draw your shapes or dots, maybe underneath the 10. How many would you draw? Yeah, I hope you draw 10. And over here on the other side, I'm comparing against the number 5. Where would you draw your 5 dots? Yeah, probably on this side. Underneath the 5 is good. Now, remember when we used the number line? We could do the same thing up on top. Let's do the red 10. Yeah, let's put the 10 up there in red. And let's do our 5 in green. Okay, now we can compare. Do you remember what Mrs. Cruz said? The numbers closer to 0 are small, and the numbers that are closer to 10 are big, greater numbers, much larger. So which number is closer to the larger size, the greater size? 10. 10 is way farther up the number line. So we know that that's going to be a much greater value. Now it says to circle the number that shows less. Oops, did you circle the greater number? Don't do that. Circle the number that is less, lower down, less, fewer. Got it? So either circle 10 or circle 5. Tell me which one's less. Okay, practice that on your own. Here is a tens frame, another fabulous tool to help you determine which numbers are greater, less, or equal, so you can compare numbers. So let me read the directions and go over this for just a few seconds. It says count how many circles are in the 10 frame. Oh, I can do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then write that number. Okay, 7. Now, then draw an amount of circles that are less in the 10 frame below it. Oh, I got this. Okay, see that open 10 frame? That nice new tool that's fresh and clean underneath? They're asking you to represent or draw dots, but they have to be less. Oh, there it is in the directions. Less. Okay. I need to find a number that's less than 7 and draw it in the 10 frame. Can you do that? Let's see. What if I did 2 dots? Is 2 dots less than 7? Yeah, I agree. They don't match up. One's much less. Okay, 7 is greater than 2. 2 is less than 7. Okay, what else could we do? Can you think of another one? How about this one? How many dots did I draw? Count them. 5. Okay, stop and look at that. Did I draw the number of dots and write the number that is less than the group on the top? Did I do less? Is 5 less than 7? Yes, it is. If you were to match them up, I would have 2 extra red. That means that I have a greater number of red dots than I do blue. I did it. Now, in this time to climb, which you will practice on your own, you get to help determine which number is greater and which number is less. It's okay if you get some wrong. Don't worry about it. As you practice comparing numbers, you'll get better and better. You can come back and try again. Okay, so they're going to ask you to compare numbers and tell which one is greater, which one is less. And you just choose the number that you think is greater or the number that you think is less. I think there's only about 4 or 5 questions, so it's pretty easy. Okay, so just try it. Now, how confident do you feel now about learning how to compare numbers within 10? How do you feel about your ability now? Go ahead and choose your best answer. Very confident. A, B, I'm okay with it. C, I need lots of help learning how to compare numbers. Okay, now your answers will help me figure out how to help you. Now for our final math collaboration, I want you to remember way back when I said the first step in comparing numbers. If I saw pictures of dots or pictures of triangles or pictures of bananas, what is the first step I need to do in order to compare groups or sets of objects? Can you remember? Remember the stop sign? I said, what do you need to do first? Yeah. All right. If you said, and by the way, if you can't read this, remember there's a little play button and it will say, what is the first step in comparing numbers? If you said stop and count, you got it right. Okay, so make sure that you're always counting and recount to be sure. I've made mistakes before. Remember, one of the tricks is to put a dot on each one you count so you remember that you counted it. You don't go over it again and recount them by mistake. Okay, put a dot on each object you count so you remember that you counted it and you won't forget one. And then you can tell which group has a greater number, which group has the lesser number, or are they exactly the same? Okay, so it's science time. It's science time. We're wrapping up. But at first, I'd like a brain break, wouldn't you? Yeah? Okay, we're back at it. We're going to go to Under the Sea, and we are going to have a quick brain break, stretch. Make sure that you are not bumping into anything.
Welcome to Escape into Summer.
Okay, get
Race
ready.
through town to grab your burger ingredients. Duck under the hot air balloons.
Oh, we got
slice
duck,
the watermelons,
slice,
dodge the ice
dodge.
cream.
Remember
and
this
jump over
one?
the hot
Jump.
coals for the barbecue.
My favorite one. Okay, on your mark, get set, start running in place. Duck. Jump. Dodge. Dodge. Ooh, don't hit my ketchup. Dodge. Jump. Dodge. Go. Slice, slice. Slice, slice. Dodge. Duck. Dodge. Jump. Help. Dodge. Slice. Slice. Jump. Slice. Duck. Oh, dodge. Jump. Jump. Dodge. Jump. Dodge. Dodge. Jump. Oh. Okay. Slice. 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 Jump. Dodge. Duck. Jump. Oh.
It's
Are you
time
tired?
for Burger Battle
Oh.
Showdown. Dodge the obstacles. Squirt ketchup and mustard on the burgers.
All right, you could do more of that on your own. It's time to wrap up our science lesson and our lesson for the day, our STEM lesson for the day. So, what are we doing in science today? Well, just a quick, very quick lesson about real versus imaginary. So, this is in Module 12, Lesson 3. And all you have to do is to carefully observe the pictures of the objects or items and just decide whether they are real, could be real life, something you can observe on the earth and it is real, or is it imaginary? Sometimes I think of imaginary being a little silly. Okay. Yeah. All right. So all you have to do is look at 3 pictures. Look at the picture of the bald eagle. Are bald eagles real? Yeah. Circle it. I've seen this bird. I have actually seen this bird flying. That is a real photograph or picture of a real, authentic eagle. Okay, so I know that's a real bird. I've seen it with my own eyes. And even if I didn't, I can tell that's a real photograph of one. Let's look at the middle picture. So I'm going to circle the word real. Oops, I forgot to circle that. So you're going to circle the word underneath. If it's real, circle the word real. If it is imaginary, circle the word imaginary. What's imaginary mean? Oh, something made up. Yeah, fictional. Kind of silly. Let's look at the middle picture now. What do you notice? Do birds listen to music, get dressed up and dance? Is that real? Have you seen that? I've never seen that. Does that look like something someone made up? I agree. So see that big word at the bottom? Imaginary. Woo, I agree. That is an imaginary, kind of silly picture. It's someone made up. It's fictional. Fake, 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 fake. Let's go to the last picture. What do you notice? I do too. Oh, we have these in our pond in my backyard. I have actually heard them. Yes, I can hear the sounds they make. I listen and watch them. I know they're real. What are they? They're ducks. So circle the word real because we know that ducks are real. That's not a picture of a duck getting dressed up and driving to work, is it? No, that would be imaginary. That would be silly. So this is an authentic, actual picture of a real duck. Okay, this is a photograph, so I know it's real. And it does exist. So let's see if you can do this one, and then we'll be finished, okay? This is saying, what makes this pumpkin picture imaginary? Now, there is a list of words, and we're going to circle, and I'm going to give you a little heads up. There are 8 words. 6 of them you will circle. 6 of those words you will circle. Why? Well, you're going to tell me what makes this picture of a pumpkin silly. You know I've seen pumpkins before. But what makes this an imaginary pumpkin? Silly, not real, fakey fake. Let's see. You guys ready? Let's read the words and you circle them if you think that's what makes that pumpkin imaginary. First word, arms. What do you think? Okay, go down. Legs. Do pumpkins have legs? How about the next one? Orange. How about the last one? Smiling. Okay, let's do the other column. Eyes. Mouth. Standing. And the last one, round. Okay, so which ones do you think you would want to circle that prove that this is not a real pumpkin? It is imaginary, something someone made up. It's fake, fake, fake. What makes it fake? Okay, let's see if you chose the right answers. You ready? Check your answers. I agree with you if you said, well, pumpkins don't have arms. A pumpkin's never hugged me before. Circle arms. How about legs? Have you ever seen a pumpkin walking around? No, that's silly. Okay, how about orange? I didn't circle that. Why not? Yeah, you're right, because all pumpkins are orange, aren't they? Some shade of orange. So that's a real thing. That's not fake. I've seen orange pumpkins before, haven't you? Okay, now, so I didn't circle that because that doesn't show that it's imaginary. It shows that it's real. Let's go to the last word, smiling. Okay, well, we're just talking about a regular pumpkin in a pumpkin patch, not one that's been dressed up for Halloween. So it shouldn't be smiling at me. If I saw a fruit smiling at me, I might run away. That's silly. That's fake. Let's go to the next column. How about eyes? Well, I've never seen pumpkin looking at me. It doesn't have real eyes. How about a mouth? How about standing? Have you ever seen a pumpkin stand up? That's silly. That's imaginary. Very good. And let's look at the last one, round. Why didn't I circle round? Yeah, because most pumpkins are some form of round. So that's a real thing. That is actually what real pumpkins look like. They're orange and they're round, but they don't have arms, legs. They don't smile at me. They don't look at me with their eyeballs because they don't have any eyeballs. They don't talk to me because they don't have a mouth, and they're not standing around. That's all imaginary. So check your answers. Make sure that you have circled all of the words that suggest that it is imaginary or fake. Okay. So you should have orange and round, not circled, because that is something that is true and real of pumpkins. So thank you for learning with me. Had a wonderful time today. I hope you practice this on your own. I would like to see it. I get wonderful reports to show that you're working on these all by yourself. So I'd love to see your work, okay? Have a great day, and I'll see you next week. Bye.